Now I have to make sure the sound is on. So here we go. And okay, so how many apples do they have together?
3.
Three.
3.
Five.
Oh no, 5.
Why
Well,
five?
actually, there were a little bit more than 5. Let's go back to the book.
6.
Okay, so here is 1,
Two,
3,
three, four,
5.
Seven.
So how many do
Seven.
they have together?
7.
7. Okay, so we know how to count. So how do we know they have 7 apples?
Because it showed us in the video.
Because it's on the video and they're the same. So now look at the next scenario.
Three bananas.
Three.
Oh,
Three
Yes.
bananas, miss.
let me go back to the end.
1 banana.
3
6
bananas.
oranges.
3 bananas.
Oops.
I just see three. I saw one.
How many did you see?
3.
3.
I thought one was my screen lag.
3.
You
3
saw 3,
bananas.
right?
Green lag, so
Yes.
I only saw 1.
Oh,
Okay, kind of look right there because if I move it any further, it will just start from the beginning. How many do you see? Do you still
3.
see 1?
3.
You can kind of see the
3.
3, right?
Yes.
3.
So how come you didn't say 10?
Because that's
Because he added
Because
not
that's not
not
obvious.
Why is it obvious? I mean, because it's not so obvious when we're working on math.
miss. The question says
Because,
how many
miss, there's not even like 10
Not
fruits.
Let Victor talk.
no, it's asking how many bananas are they together.
not oranges.
Not
That's why.
oranges,
That's 3.
not oranges and bananas. They're asking for bananas only. And that's an issue we have in math, guys. As obvious as it looks like with fruit, sometimes it's not as obvious in math. And then we start getting wrong answers. So think of it as if they're fruit. So for example, the oranges can represent x squared and the bananas can represent just x by itself. Are they the same?
No.
No.
No, because one has a square and the bananas only have an x. So we're going to think of it as fruit. Okay, so with that, let's start with our notebook. So yes, we do need the notebook. So in big, big letters, guys, and I wrote super big, so I could just write combine. But on the first page, you're gonna write in big letters, combining like terms.
Wait, combine what?
Combining like terms.
Miss, are you still sharing your screen or do we go to Nearpod?
No, I'm still sharing my screen because now we're just gonna work on the notebook and on the index cards.
So we start on the first page?
On the first page, that's correct. So guys, every time we start a unit, we're going to write the title in big letters on just one page. Sometimes the units will have extra stuff in them, and they're just gonna be in small titles. And then for me, I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, I like to color code everything simply because it helps me remember. So if you have markers or stuff laying around, just grab one or two. But it's up to you. It's not required. They're your notes. You know how you want your notes to look.
What was the word again?
Combining like terms. So just like the PowerPoint.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. But once again, because I wrote way too big, I had to just put combine. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay,
No.
so now,
No.
okay, keep writing, guys, as I explain the next couple of things. We're going to start on the index cards. Now, when I give you guys a vocabulary, you don't have to write it word by word the way I have it. You can make it into your own words, or I'll tell you how to write it. I'll put it on the chat box. I just wrote the actual definition. You can make it into your own words. So let's go ahead and start. Once again, guys, if you don't have enough time to finish copying, the class is always being recorded, so you can always go back and kind of stop where you left off. That doesn't mean don't log on or just don't do anything right now. You have to be participating. You can be called on at any moment. So I'll move on to the next one. On your first index card, this is the first term. Expression. So on the chat box, guys, this is what you can write. A mathematical phrase with numbers and variables. So whenever you see an equation,
Sorry.
yes, write the definition on the back, please. So I'll give you guys about 2 minutes to do that.
So on the front, we write the word expression and on the back definition.
Correct. So once again, guys, you don't have to write the whole definition. I did put it on the chat box, like an easier version or whatever works for you. Now, if you don't have index cards, just in your notebook, you have your title page on the back, start writing your vocabulary. If you do not have index cards.
Miss, how do you spell
How do you spell what?
What was the definition?
It's on the chat box.
Oh, okay.
A simpler version of it.
What was the phrase? I couldn't hear the phrase.
So it's a mathematical phrase combining numbers and variables.
The phrase.
The phrase?
Yes.
What do you mean the phrase?
Expression.
The word on the.
Oh, expression.
Oh, okay.
And then I give you some examples. You don't have to write all of them. But for example, 6 by itself is an expression. 6 plus 6 is an expression. 6x squared is an expression. So in other words, guys, anything is an expression as long as it doesn't have an equal sign. If it has an equal sign, it's no longer an expression. Sorry. Okay, so the next word, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so the next word is coefficient.
How do you spell
And
it?
coefficient, it's right in front of your screen.
Oh, it's because my
COEFFICIENT.
screen is lagged. I still has that. It still shows that you're sharing your screen.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Does your chat box work?
Yes.
Okay, let me write it on the chat box. So a coefficient is a number in front of the variable. And what that does, that number is just being multiplied with the variable. You don't have to write that it is usually represented. So you can just write what I'm putting on the chat box. Those are easier terms. So if you look at the examples, in 3x, the coefficient would be a 3 because that's the number in front of the variable. In 4y squared, the coefficient would be a 4. In 10x squared plus 2, the coefficient would be the 10 because that's the one in front of the variable. The 2 has another name, and you'll see that right now.
Miss, are we going to do notes?
You can do it on your notes or you can do it on your index cards, but yes, the whole goal today is to get to the actual notes.
Why?
Why what? Why are
No, I
we going to
said-
take notes? Or
No, I
why is
said-
it a goal? Because it takes some of you longer to write the definitions. So, for example, last period, we weren't able to really get into the notes.
Can you please give an example of coefficient one more time?
So, for example, if you see the 3x,
Mm-hmm.
the coefficient would be the 3.
Oh, okay.
So it's the number in front of the variable, the letter. And on the bottom, the 10x squared plus 2, the coefficient would be the 10 because that's the one in front of the x, not the 2. We ready?
Yes.
Are we all ready? Or just one person?
Yes.
Boy,
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Your next term is a variable. And a variable is simply a letter or a symbol that represents an unknown number. So for example, in 3x, the variable would be the x. In n plus 5, the variable would be an n because it can take on any meaning. It can be worth 100, it can be worth 1,000. And then the next up would be a constant. And a constant is a term that has a fixed value and does not contain a variable. So I'll write it on the chat box again. Constant number without the variable. It doesn't change. That's why it's called the constant, because it's always going to be the same. And when we start, and I know you guys have started seeing graphs since you were like in 6th, 7th grade, and you've seen constants. So we'll talk about that later on. So for example, in 7 plus 4x, the constant would be the 7 because that's the one that does not have a variable. It wouldn't be a 4 because the 4 does have a variable. That would be a coefficient. In x squared plus 10, the constant would be the 10 because it does not have a variable. Okay, so I'll give you guys about 2 minutes to copy that. So make sure you understand the difference between a coefficient and a constant. Because that's when we start to mistake oranges and bananas. Are we good?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So once again, guys, if you don't get a chance, just we'll go through the recording, or if not, when we take a small break, I can go back to wherever you left off. So next word is like terms. Like terms, and let me write that in the chat box. And it looks like my computer just froze. Okay. They are exactly alike. Same variable and exponent. But coefficients can be different. And then you can combine them to make it a simpler term. So I put it on the chat box, guys. You can use that definition. So for example, in 2y squared, 10y squared, and again, 2y squared, they would all be like terms because they have the y square in common. Now, if you look at the second row, and you don't have to copy all the examples, we have 2y, 10y, y, and negative y. They're like terms because they have the same variable, and the variable has the same exponent. In this case, it's an exponent of 1, even though we're not seeing it. Now, the last one it doesn't have any variables. So they're all called constants and they're all the same. So you could possibly add them or subtract them together. So we could combine them to make it a smaller expression. So I'll give you guys about 2 minutes as well. So as long as they have the same letter and the same exponent, they're going to be alike. It doesn't matter if one has a 10 as a coefficient and the other one doesn't have anything. They're still the same.
Miss, are we done with what's it called? Vocabulary or whatever it was?
The near part or what?
That was writing the definitions.
No, we need one more and then that's it for the definitions. So
So
there's
the-
actually 6 because I said 5, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the one that doesn't know how to count and I'm the math teacher. It happens, trust me. I go to the store and then it's like 20 plus 5 and I'm like, oh, it's 20. I don't know, it happens and I'm like, wow. God bless my students. And then the last one, guys, are terms. And terms are part of an expression, which may be a number, a variable, or a combination of both. And here are the examples. So for example, the expression 2a plus b squared has 2 terms, and that would be b squared and 2a. There are 2 terms because they are different, just like apples and bananas, 2 different types of fruit. Now, if we look at the next one, we have 4x to the power of 3. We have 3xz, and then we have minus 5. So the terms would be 4x to the power of 3, 3xz, and 5, 3. And then tell me when you're done so we can go over the last example on the table.
Miss, what was the definition for terms?
Let me write it down. Numbers, variables, or a combination of both that make up an expression. So tell me when you guys are ready. Raise your hand when you're ready so we can go over the last one. And I was raising my hand myself. So raise your hand when you're ready. Okay, we'll give you guys a couple more seconds. Joshua, you were able to log in, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then, how about Leonel Tapia? Okay, so no.
I'm sorry, what?
Leonel Tapia?
Yeah.
Are you on here?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we had perfect attendance. Great. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you for being here. It actually makes a difference because once again, yes, the lessons will be recorded. But for example, if you have questions and then someone didn't ask the question that you wanted to ask, then it's going to be kind of hard. So are we ready? For the most part, it looks like you guys are. So I'm going to go ahead and let's all look at the bottom one. 9x to the power of 3 plus 5x to the power of 3 plus x plus 16. On the chat box, write down how many terms you see.
Miss.
Mm,
Who is
Miss, it's still on the video.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
still on
is
the
the screen
video?
supposed to be the banana screen?
The whole time.
Is it still really all this time?
Yeah.
It's been on the
Yeah,
banana
that's
Yeah.
screen?
That's
Yeah.
that's why we've been asking you
Yeah.
to write it on the chat box.
I see. See, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm
I
over
thought it
here
was just me. I was so confused.
See, so if you were just watching the recording and that happened, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. So awesome. Great job, guys. Are you able to see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So copy that little table very quickly, and then we'll talk about it.
Do we copy an index card or in our
On
notebook?
the index card. You can just copy one or the two examples. You don't have to do all of it. I do apologize for
Okay,
that.
so are we copying the examples of like terms?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll give you guys 2 minutes for that. And once again, I'm so sorry. And thank you for letting me know.
Hey.
Are we ready?
Yes.
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 Okay. So it's okay. Leo's okay. So let's talk about the last one. On the chat box, write down how many terms you see. Do not say it, just write it. How many terms do you see on the last example? Okay, so if you wrote 4, you are correct. Look, we have 9x to the power of 3. We have 5x to the power of 3. And we have x and 16. That's 4. Now, if you wrote 3, yes, you could be correct if I had asked you to simplify, but we're not there yet. So for right now, the number of terms were 4. So good job, guys. For the most part, some of you did get it. It's completely fine if you wrote 3 because like I'm saying, we are going to get to simplifying. So don't worry. Right now, we are done with vocabulary. I'm going to give you a quick 5-minute break again. Get up, go to the restroom, go get something to eat, drink. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Stretch. So 5 minutes, guys.
Are we back yet, Miss?
Yes, we're back. Okay, guys, so right now I am going to show you how I want you to start your notes. So if you already use the page behind the title, that's completely fine. If not, here, actually, we'll start on the other one. Hold on. So you have your notebook. What I want you to do on your next available page is, even if you don't have a ruler, so let's say here is my notebook, well, my sheet of paper. Pretend it's a straight sheet of paper.
Miss,
What's up?
my screen shows the one that where we did the PEMDAS.
Yes, that's where we're at right now.
Oh, okay.
Can you see a little line
Where?
on the whiteboard where we did the PEMDAS?
I still see all the four, like you remember the equation we did earlier?
Yes, so you can still see that?
I have that one.
Let me erase all that then. Okay, so here's your sheet of paper. I want you guys to draw a line here. So kind of like Cornell notes. And then I was trying to get a document camera to work so you can see as I'm writing, but unfortunately it did not work. So I want it to look something like that. So draw your line. And then here, you're gonna write down the word example.
Miss, so we have to draw that? Like that? Or that's
Well,
like
not
your
just the paper, right? But the line, yes.
Oh.
Because your sheet of paper, you already have it. So I just want you guys to draw the line. Can you see my line? And then on the side, you're gonna write example.
Do we put example?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And then I'm going to give you the example that you're gonna write. 7x plus 3 minus 5x plus 8 plus.
Miss, can you please repeat that from the beginning?
What do you want me to repeat?
Never mind. The numbers are on the screen.
So remember, the black part is just your sheet of paper. You already have it. You didn't need to draw it. And then here on the side, you're gonna write example. And your example is gonna go on this part.
Miss, is that -1 or negative
Yes.
1?
-1. We
Oh.
would read it as -1 because it's in the middle. Let me erase that for you guys now. Okay. So when we start combining, guys, we always want to start with the variables. So let's look at the variables. What variable do we see?
X.
X. So 7x has a variable. So I'm going to write it here underneath. So make sure that you're copying this on your notebook. What other coefficient has a variable?
5x.
5x?
4x.
Hold on, because I heard 5x. You're technically right, but not really.
4x.
4x, okay. And then right now we'll talk about the 5x. We know 4x is similar or alike to 7x because they have an x. Now let's
Is it
talk about
5x?
the 5. Huh?
Because it's in the middle.
Se me da mucho.
So what would it be? A positive 5x or a negative 5x?
Negative.
Yo,
Negative. So when I ask
Negative.
for it, it is negative 5. When I rewrite it, it's minus 5.
so it's just the -5, no x?
Oh, thank you. See, I'm forgetting the x now. This is the only instance you don't want to forget your x's. In real life, you want to forget about your x's and you move on. In math, you want to always remember your x's.
Mira.
Okay, so now we can simplify even more. When I simplify, I'm going to break it down. What's 7 plus 4?
11.
11.
11. 11 what?
X.
X.
X. Then I'm going to just bring down my negative 5x. Can I simplify even more?
No.
No.
Yes.
The 11x and the negative 5x don't have a variable in common.
The x.
The x. So we can simplify even more. What's 11 minus 5?
6x.
6.
6x, because they have that x in common. Are we finished?
No. And then I
No.
add 3 plus
Yes
8.
and no. Because now we need to look at what are these numbers called if they don't have a variable.
Whole numbers.
Consistent.
Well,
Term.
we just learned about it.
Term.
Constant.
No.
It is a term, but it starts with a C.
Constant.
Constant.
Constants. They're constants because they don't have a variable. So now, what's the first constant that we see?
3.
3.
8.
So a 3. And then what's the next one?
4.
1.
8.
8.
8.
8. Is it a positive or negative 8?
Positive.
Positive.
Positive 8. And then at the end, what do we have?
1.
Minus 1.
A negative.
Minus 1. Negative 1. So there, I rewrote it. Now I need to simplify. What's 3 plus 8?
11.
Wow.
11.
11. It's okay. It's okay if we say 12. It's okay. Don't worry. We don't judge. And then we bring down the minus 1. What's 11 minus 1?
10.
10.
Positive or negative 10?
Positive
10. Negative.
Really? The negative number is bigger?
No.
No, so it's a positive. So we're done. Now I just want to rewrite my answer.
Miss, what was so I stayed on 11 minus 1, I think, is it?
Uh-huh.
After that, what do we do?
We just combine them. We just rewrite it. So
So
what's
the
11
answer
minus 1?
10.
10. And since the 11 is bigger, it's going to be a positive 10. So we put a plus, and then once we rewrite it, this is our final answer. 6x plus 10.
So it's 6x plus 10?
Yes. Can I combine even more?
Yes. No.
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 Why not?
Because they're
Oh,
different.
They're different. Why are they different?
Because one has the X.
Because
Variable.
one has the X. So remember, let's pretend the X's are the oranges. We cannot combine oranges and apples and say, oh, we have 16 apples. That's incorrect. We have 6 oranges and 10 apples. Okay, so we got to be careful with that. I'm going to give you the next example. You try it out by yourselves. I'll write it here. So let me write down your example.
All the time.
And this is going to be super, super, super easy. Okay, so I'll give you guys about a minute to work it out. And then I'm going to pick on someone to solve it for us. So make sure we're all working because you don't know if you're going to be called.
Miss, what are we going to work out?
On your notebook. So write
I
under,
know.
huh?
What's gonna be the
Example.
What's the title? One?
What's the title?
Yeah, for the new equation.
It's just combining like terms. And then this one, we can just leave it under example as well. So example, and then if you want, you can put example 2. Oops. So I'll type it here. But everything right now is still under like terms. That's why we're not changing anything. Let me stop my alarm. So let's pick on someone.
Miss, can I go to the restroom real quick?
Yeah, go for it. So Miss Angelina, you can go ahead and write on the whiteboard. Go ahead and solve this for us.
Miss, I can't see the equation.
3x plus 6x. So we'll pick someone else. Saul. On the whiteboard, go ahead and show us your answer. Write it down. Great job. Did everyone get that answer?
I can't see it.
I can't see
Yes.
Yes.
No one can see it?
something special.
like slow.
Hold on. Because he just wrote it.
Everyone, just go into full screen in order to see the equation.
Roll full screen.
Just go to the 3 dots and it says full screen.
Got it?
Got
I
it.
got it.
So is that what you got? You guys got 9x?
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 9x.
You guys did get 9x. Super
Yes.
simple, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we will continue tomorrow, guys. Thank you for being great. Thank you for those of you who are helping others out when we're having issues. Thank you for letting me know when I'm on mute. You guys are great. And just like this is this simple, trust me, that's how algebra is gonna be the whole year. Okay, so go on to your third period. And I will see some of you tomorrow and some of you till Friday. So
Bye.
have a great day, guys. Behave, be
Bye.
good. Do your work. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, miss.
Bye.
Bye.